I'm making a winter coat for myself using this pattern, and I'm basically making this with this color because it's for winter and winters can be cold, so this isn't good for Finnish winter. As I'm making a minor addition to this coat, I thought that I might show you how to make this kind of pocket. So this is, I think this is called a welt pocket, and I have already started. Here are 2 pieces of fabric. These are originally 4 centimeters wide, and then the length is the same as for this pocket is wide, and the zipper is a bit longer. I can then shorten it afterwards to make it neat, but it's easier when it's a bit longer at this stage. So these were 4 centimeters wide. Then I folded them in half lengthwise. So the fold is here, and the raw edges are here in the middle. And the idea is that you place these so that the raw edges are side by side here, and here is where the opening of the pocket will be. And then you go right here in the middle. So this is 2 centimeters now, and you need to have exactly the same here and here. So 1 centimeter on this side and 1 centimeter on this side, because this is going to be turned this way, and these 2 need to cover the opening. And then these stitches here, these need to sort of form a rectangular shape. So the end here and here, they need to be so that there's a vertical line from one end to the other, and same here. So you need to be careful with these. And what I did with these was that I pinned these pieces to this lining, and then I drew the line and its ends here on this fabric, so it was easy when I started sewing. I could clearly see where I need to start and where to end, and also on this side. So now I have these ends in exactly the right place. And then the next stage is to cut this open, same way as in the other type of pocket, the one I made earlier. So with the minor difference because of these parts. So first need to cut this here in the middle. Cut it open, but not all the way to the end. The end here, so about here. I'm cutting it open and then cutting it open on the other end. Okay, there's no need to go very far, just this much. And then you again cut from this end to the ends of the stitches here, but you don't cut this fabric, only the lining. So the easiest way to do this is to turn this fabric. First turn this way and then this way, and now you can see where the stitches end. But of course now there's the thing that I need to put my fingers under here to avoid cutting anything else. So just fold this and then cut from here close to the end, so it'll be neat when these are turned to the other side. So folding it like this, and then how do I turn it so I can see what I'm doing? Okay, here, and then the same in the other end. This is easier as it's closer to this edge. Just make sure none of the other parts of the lining get underneath, so you're only cutting this. Opening. Okay, and the last one. Okay, so the next stage is to put these to the wrong side, so only this part should remain visible. And if you have done this right, okay, I think I'll need to use the iron a bit here to make these stay on this side. Okay, anyway, you need to turn these this way, and I'll get back once I've ironed this to get them to stay in place. Okay, here you can see how it's supposed to look like. I've pinned these pieces so they'll stay this way, so you can see how this goes, because it's at this point this is really difficult to manage, because these tend to try to turn to the right side when they are supposed to be there on the wrong side. So the direction is that up is here and this is down. This is the waist. So now we move to the wrong side and start sewing the pieces in place. And first let's take this lower edge and the zipper, it goes this way. So this is the upside of the zipper. It goes down because this is the side that shows on the right side of the lining. And okay, let's remove those pins so it's easier to show how this goes. So this is the seam allowance for the lower edge, and the zipper goes here. You sew it to the seam allowance, but also one part of the pocket. There's two parts, and the part that goes here should actually be shorter, but I cut them both the same length, and then I'm going to shorten one later, because it's easier when they are both the same size. You don't need to worry which one you're using, just sewing them in place. So this is the right side of the lining fabric. I usually, when I cut the pieces, I put pin here to mark, so I don't need to examine which one is the right side of the fabric. I can see it right away. And these are bird pictures here, so it needs to be the right way. So it comes here, but when you're sewing it, it goes here. So these three need to be sewn together here in the seam allowance. So this pocket piece, it's right side against the wrong side of lining and picture upside down here. So when it's turned like this, the picture is right way. So that's the next part, and I'm going to do that and then we'll continue. One half of the pocket is now in place, and then it's time to sew this other half. And okay, and this, it keeps slipping to the right side, and I need to. So here's the upper edge of the opening and seam allowance for that. And so you put the zipper here, you're gonna sew it here, and then you take the other pocket piece, and this is the right side. You can remove that. So you put right side against the right side of this pocket piece, and it goes here as well. So you just align the edges here and sew this part. And it's best to use the zipper foot for this because, well, there's a zipper and it's always easier to sew zippers using a zipper foot, although it's not always necessary. You can get away with it with some other presser foot, but zipper foot is, well, it's meant for this purpose. Now both pieces are in place, and then we'll go to the other side. Here, let's see here. So we are in the picture. Okay, the next thing is stitching around this, and first the lower edge, and you turn this away. Make sure it's up here safely. You can even pin it here if you want to make extra sure that it won't get underneath, because you're going to stitch here and only this piece should go there. So it's this and seam allowances and one pocket piece. You stitch those together and you go from corner to corner, and no longer, just here in both ends you go forward, backward, forward about 3 or 4 stitches, then stitch to this corner and then backward and forward. So just to make sure the stitches won't unravel. And once you've done that, then you turn this down. So both pocket pieces are now down here, and then you need to push all of this stuff back where it belongs, to the wrong side. And also there's this, yeah, and it's really hard to get them to stay there at this point. Just pin them in place or something, just to make sure they stay there. And there is this triangular piece here, and this needs to go underneath as well. So make sure these are all straight and neat, and all the triangular pieces here in the ends go underneath, and then you stitch up and across and down here, and you can go back and forth, so just to strengthen the ends of the zipper, secure them, and to keep the stitches from unraveling. So first the bottom and then the 3 other sides, and after that it's time to sew this pocket into a small bag. So this is a failure. I can't show you how the pocket is supposed to look like, because this is nothing like it. So I'll explain. So the two pieces, they were supposed to be like one here and one here, so that the folded edges are just touching each other and hiding this zipper underneath, but something went really badly wrong. So now these two, they are on top of each other, but the zipper is under here and it opens and closes, and I can put these here, so it's basically, it just shows one of these pieces of fabric. It goes on top of the other one, and that's not how it's supposed to be. But I have 2 options: either just remove everything and do this again, or just leave it like it is. And I think the latter is what I'm gonna do, because it works and it's inside the coat, so nobody else is going to see this. I'm going to know it's there, but I'll get used to it. So the last step is to take these 2 and just sew them around here to make the pocket, and then cut. Can you see anything? Cut the extra fabric from here, because this one piece is longer than the other. But yeah, I'm going to do that next, and then I'm going to show you why I made this pocket. So now the pocket is finished, and the reason I wanted to make this is this. It's a mobile phone pocket, and you really need one for a winter coat, because when the temperatures can go to -30 degrees Celsius, you need to keep your phone close to your body to keep it warm enough so the battery doesn't die. And as I said, this is an abomination. It's not supposed to look anything like this, and I realized that I can show you how it's supposed to look. That's this. This is a practice piece I made, I think, in the spring. I used this kind of a pocket in the vest I made, and I made this first just to practice making this sort of pocket before I made a pocket in the vest, and I'm happy to tell you that the pocket in the vest, it looks the way it's supposed to. So here's the zipper. and here you can see that the edges, they go, well, they overlap maybe 0.5 millimeter, but that's, well, getting it quite exact is really hard, but this is good enough, and this is how it's supposed to look like. So I have made at least 2 the way they're supposed to be made, and now the question is, what went wrong? And I think there might be some measurement error somewhere. I'm not quite sure, but it looks like it, because it looks like this opening isn't as high as it's supposed to be. Everything looked fine up to the point when I was cutting this open, and after that I just couldn't get these pieces to go the way they were supposed to go. So it is a bit of a mystery, but like I said, this is a work in pocket and it won't be showing. It's inside the coat, so it will have to do. I don't want to make it again because I still have quite a lot to do with this coat. Now I have the lining and the outer, and the next step is sewing them together, and I think that'll probably be the next video. As I was editing this video, I suddenly realized what went wrong. So this is another practice piece. So here are just these pieces sewn in place, and it's been cut open. And now you put this here to the wrong side, like this. Okay, let's get it there. It's like this, and then you sew the zipper in place. I have here one zipper. You put the zipper there underneath, and then you sew just next to these stitches. It needs to be really close, almost on top of these stitches, and that's where the problem was. I probably sewed it somewhere too far from these stitches, and that's why these pieces aren't the way they're supposed to be. They are on top of each other instead of being the way they're supposed to be, which is well, it looks like this might not be. Yeah, this isn't like it's supposed to be. Well, I showed the practice piece earlier. You can see from that how it's supposed to look like, and the way you get there is that you need to sew the zipper along these stitches, and the easiest way is to sew the zipper first, and then only after you get that right, then you sew the pocket pieces in place.